So they well, they stories. So also secret government group to say what they're Pope Lou Ellis on for some, and they have been hacked into civilizations and that the second Olympic. And so just that. Oh, it's only a handful.
Stop being curious about this because I don't want to know anymore. But
you truly don't want to know anymore.
Nope. Supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that. The Greek myths, Jesus, most famously. I find so striking about the UFOs, this is the main takeaway I have. It's like there's this debate like, is this stuff, these phenomena, which are clearly, obviously real? I mean, there's no debate about that. There's a lot of shit that people can't in the sky and underwater. We know that.
You had mentioned several times that you think that the UFO, UAP type phenomena stuff is all spiritual.
I think so. I don't know. I should just state about every topic. Like, I don't know shit.
Nobody knows shit.
Yeah, that is the root of all wisdom. As my father always told kids, the root of all wisdom is knowing what an asshole you are. And I think that totally, and knowing how ignorant you are and how limited your foresight is. That. So I don't know. But yeah, I would bet my house on it. At least some of it is. I mean, I'm sure some of it's like advanced technology that the U.S. government clearly does possess a lot of technology that is not publicly known about or available or only in fragments. I mean, that's clearly true. You've done a lot on this. I mean, that's why I first reached out to you, because you did such an amazing segment on that. I was like shocked by it, how great it was. That's why I'm sitting here. So you know, and clearly that's part of it, but there are other things that are really not, that baffle the U.S. government. Here's what I'm really surprised by, and I've actually stopped gathering string on, as we say in reporting, stopped gathering string in this, gathering information, because I'm satisfied enough, and I don't really want to know that much more. Because what I think I know is, this doesn't help me at all to know that. So that's it. I've reached. I'm usually pretty curious. I've stopped being curious about this because I don't want to know anymore. But
you truly don't want to know anymore.
Nope. I think I know. I think I know what's up. So I can't prove it. So probably not going to. But I think I know what's up. Yeah. But
can you articulate it?
I think it's a really old story. I think it's a really old story. So I think.
What is it?
Well, one, Christian, and I am fairly sincere about it. I try to be sincere about it. More so than ever, for sure. But one thing that you notice out every world religion I'm familiar with, I'm interested in that topic. There are commonalities between religions. This is unique, and I believe in Jesus. So I don't believe in any kind of pantheology, okay? I don't think they're all equal or anything like that. I think mine is correct. I think that. Sorry. But there are commonalities that are very striking between all world religions I'm aware of and all creation myths. And one of them, and this is of course true for Christianity, very true, is that the belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that. The Greek myths, Jesus, most famously, but that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, that they're physical. They're as real as the arm of your chair. And that they reproduce with people. Again, Christianity believes that. Jesus, immaculate conception, spirit reproduces with human woman. That's what the story is. It's described in Genesis as well, in Genesis 6. But again, it's not just the religion of the ancient Hebrews or the religion of the modern Christians. It's Hinduism as well, and the animist religions, to the extent we understand them or know about them, of the American Indians, all the same. So if every culture in the world that we know about, has left any kind of written or physical record, is reaching the same conclusions about something, maybe there's something there. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not so crazy to think that what everyone else has always thought since the beginning of time, there is this combination in cases of, human beings and the spiritual realm, what it is. I can speak about it with no precision at all because I don't understand the specifics of it, but I know that it has been written about since I've been writing. And so it's a little weird that in 1945, really the day we dropped the first bomb on Hiroshima, from then until now, it's just a speck of time in the continuum of history. For that one period, we've assumed that's not true, but as always assumed it is true. I'm kind of going with everyone else on that, just on the odds, okay? It's a very long-winded way of answering your question, but I think that's kind of looking at. I think there's some evidence that that's so, and I don't want to fully articulate it because it sounds like so out of the realm, but it's not out of anyone else's realm. In fact, it was at the very of everyone else's realm until like just the other day. So I don't think it's a crazy thing to think, and I happen it's true. So whatever, but I can't. So I'm certainly not an evangelist on the subject at all, and I also don't know how that helps anybody to say it. So I've tried not to talk about it because I don't know it's true. And I don't really know what you do about it if it is.
What was
other
it
than
that
say yours?
What was it that what was it that led you to
Talking to a lot of people? I got really interested in it, and since that is a job, that's literally my job, is to call people and see them and talk to them. And that's what I've done my whole life. So it's like that's just natural for me. It's not a hobby. It's my profession. I hate to use the word reporting. It's been so discredited by the liars. Oh, we've done a lot of reporting. Here at NBC News, we've done a lot of reporting. Fucking liar. You talk to some flack at CIA who told you lies, which you're now repeating to me and my kids, so shut up. You've been doing reporting. I hate to use the word reporting, but just like satisfying your curiosity by trying to identify who might know, talking to a bunch of people about it, assessing who's telling the truth. Maybe they're wrong anyway, but you can kind of feel whether someone's telling the truth. And there are ways to know, or to get closer to knowing whether someone's telling the truth, and just talk to a lot of people. And I've done that because I got really interested in it, sort of by accident. I never thought I'd be interested in this at all. And so I talked to a lot of people, and I was really shocked by what credible people told me. They're wrong. Of course, I can't prove it.
Yeah.
But I became completely satisfied, I'll say that they were not wrong and that they were right or in the vicinity of right. I always assume the details are wrong. I was a police reporter for a while, and if you someone like a shooting, you've obviously seen shootings, but most people do shootings. So you think if you saw a shooting, you'd like remember every detail of the shooting. They get them all wrong. People aren't good at detail. Okay, that's just true. But they are good at themes. Themes. Like, they remember the guy's fat. He may have been 400 pounds, he was 280, he was fat. Like, if everyone says the guy was fat, he was fat. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what we do. We can't say that. And so if everybody you talk to is saying, oh, this is really upsetting, I don't know what this means, but here's what I know, here's what I heard someone say, I was in a meeting, or here's what, you know what I mean? It was that kind of stuff. And I didn't talk to anybody in the UFO community. I'm not even sure what that is. I know I don't ask anybody, actually. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my job to trust people. So it's my job to assess whether what they're saying is right or not. So I talked to people who I thought had firsthand knowledge. I talked to a number of them. And then I was like, whoa, 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 I'm out. Because I don't need to go farther than that. I mean, I think that the real struggles are seen. That is absolutely a part of Christian theology. I didn't fully appreciate it at all. It's a part of every theology. In fact, it is theology. That is theology. The belief that the real struggles are, that has been a constant belief since the beginning of history, recorded history. Everybody has thought that, except us in the West, since 1945. I can't say that enough. So once you get perspective on this question, you're like, okay, that may sound crazy to someone who thinks buying shit on Amazon is the meaning of life, but to every other person in the world, we may disagree about what the truth is, I'm sure we will, but we will never disagree with the fact that there's a lot of shit going on that we cannot see or measure with our senses. That is absolutely true. I find so striking about the UFOs, this is the main takeaway, it's like there's this debate like, is this stuff, these phenomena, which are clearly, obviously real? I mean, there's no debate about that. There's a lot of shit that people can't explain in the sky and underwater. We know that. Fact. So the debate is this government technology? Is it from outer space, or is it some spiritual realm here? I've already told you my view of it. What I find so interesting, we know the government's lied about it. They're lying about it now. That's a fact. There's no way they've absolutely lied about it in very elaborate ways. I am really struck. Here's my current thinking on it. The main effort that the U.S. government has put into its disinformation, its lying on this topic, has been not to mislead you on the technology. Like, they're not telling me they don't have anti-gravity technology. From watching your podcast, which I believe in that. Their main interest is in convincing you that the supernatural is not real.
Read. Read. Ooh. Eating. Case. There's get a splinter removed south of the border. Mexican kids that had died, and they put them in mama. It was years ago. There was a situation. He was rumored to have been involved with that situation. I just
Think it affected the genre at all?
it'd have set us back if I'd have put it in ours. But so they didn't want to come up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we had the most talked about UFO hearing in the world.
He's in Mexico.
Our one guy that was down there that was in ours, he went down there and he was legit. And they brought these bodies forth, and I don't know anything about them other than what I've read and what I've heard. If they could get them up, noted ufologists have studied them, noted Mexican doctors, that's Mexican. It's not exactly the place I'd go for any procedures. I wouldn't get a splinter removed south of the border, and bring them up here. Let's take them to one of our research places and let our top research places if they're serious about it. This is the same guy who was rumored to have been involved in a former thing where they had some mummies and they turned out they were just a bunch of, I think it was little Mexican kids that had died. And they put them in it was years ago. There was a situation. He was rumored to have been involved with that situation. I just, bringing forth something like that was just.
This is the same guy that put this on as the same guy that was.
Yeah, allegedly.
What's the point of it then? Why would they have this?
Well, they come out now and said they're the first government to say there's UFOs. And something they got took. I just don't think the Americans went down there with an open mind, and I think they left disgusted.
That's what I gathered.
The people that I know that are in the serious people in this country, they didn't want to say anything because they don't want to, but they've all confided in me that they thought it was much of a hoax.
Just a publicity stunt or something.
And the guy got in there, and he's rich. He'll travel the country. He'll be writing books about it, and he'll display them at the carnival or something. And
yeah,
I'm sure there's money attached to it. There always is.
Do you think that set us back? Do you think it affected the genre at all?
It'd set us back if I'd have put it in ours. But so they didn't want to come up here.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the most talked about UFO hearing in the world. I mean, bar none.
Yeah.
International. We had people covering it from all over the world, and I was literally having to turn down interviews just because there was just not enough time. Had to be places and blogs and podcasts, or what podcasts I guess you call them, and never heard from these guys once.
Interesting. What do you know about other countries and their, not just Mexico, but
Canada is big involved. Over in Europe, huge. England they've had departments that have studied this and come forward with information. So yeah, I think and you've got the Union collapses and things, we lose things. You've got the Italians claim that there was a deal, and it's been written about, and I haven't had time to chase it really. Some deal with the Vatican, and that they recovered, they sponsored an archaeological type thing, and they recovered something. Of course, you got the Nazis, of course, in the Second World War. I don't put a lot of faith in that. I think they had a lot of technology going on. They had Werner von Braun and the V2. They never could perfect a lot of their stuff. They were going 100 different directions, and didn't learn how to mass produce stuff. Like you could take a M1 carbine. You could take the slide off of it, one made by Inland Marine, and put it on one made by Winchester. They couldn't do that. The Germans couldn't do that, and we made that. Mass production, similar. Something works, stick to it. It's cheap. It works. Produces. Let's go. And they would have, they're intricate and very precise with their thing, and that's interesting. That's, oddly enough, that's how they got a lot of their criminals, because they kept such incredible records of the horrible things they were doing. Poor folks, that they hung them. They hung those bastards in the war because they found a lot of information. But I think there's been some pretty well documented cases all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, George Knapp reports that has had at least 45 UAP encounters. Former British defense official Nick Pope says that they are aware of UAP programs in both China and Russia. Scott Bray, director of Naval Intelligence, reports there are no signs of extraterrestrial involvement. I mean, it's just everybody's all over the board here. Do you have any information previous to China and Russia's UAP?
A little. Their land mass is so large that they have and they keep things so secret. So when it comes out, it's usually very old, and it's been chewed on so much you don't really know what part of it's the truth or not. So I don't get too hung up on all that stuff.